Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. And I am here. I got my man Jonathan Macri in the virtual building. Last night I said building. In the virtual building. He's in the virtual building with me. We're going to talk some Knicks. We're going to talk some Spurs. So we're going to go ahead and get down to business, man. And let me get this guy on over here so we can talk. A lot to talk about from things that came out today. Hey, Jonathan, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. It's weird because like NFL first day of the season has a certain feel because everybody plays kind of on the same day, and Major League Baseball kind of the same thing. The NBA, it's like it starts off slow with a couple of games tonight, so you're looking forward to those. And it's like the appetizer, and like tomorrow night's the main course. So I'm I got my plate in front of me. I got my knife and fork. I'm ready to start eating.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Tonight's it's gonna be a little bit disappointing tonight because everyone was expecting Zion Williamson to start off the season, kick off the season. He's gonna be out for a couple of weeks, or not a couple of weeks. What? 2 months, I guess.
6 to 8.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look. I hope that he's okay. I really like this guy. Just as a person and as a young basketball player, I really like him. So I hope that he can be healthy and have a strong career, and these injuries do not forecast or, put a shadow over his career.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of Knicks fans right now feel, I don't want to say happy, but feel a little bit relieved that we didn't draft him, and now we're dealing with being scared that he's going to be injured for his career,
I mean, look, there's no way to beat around the bush. The franchise, whether it's been things that have been of their own making or unfortunate, circumstances that have been out of their control. I don't want to say they've been snake bitten, because that takes away some of a little bit too much of the responsibility that should go on their shoulders for how the last 20 years have gone. But I think the overwhelming feeling that I've got over the last day or so since the Zion injury news has come about is for 20 years, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong with us. And maybe for once, we caught a break. Again, look, the guy, I hope he'll be fine. He will probably be fine. He is an unbelievable specimen in terms of just what he's able to do on the court. And I think it will translate if he's healthy. But it's nice. I'll say this. It's nice that the three guys that the organization has been most closely linked to in terms of star power over the last 18 months have been Kristaps Porzingis, Zion Williamson, and Kevin Durant. All three of those guys, in different forms and fashions, have significant injury issues associated with them and will continue to have those associations for the rest of the time that they are playing basketball. And we, right now, as Knicks fans, listen, there's a lot of issues. I'm sure we're gonna get into them that we're gonna have to deal with. But at the very least, we could look at this roster and be like, all right, that's one thing that we do not have to worry about. So I think from that perspective, it's kind of nice.
Exactly. It's very nice to not have to worry about it. Of course, we got some minor injuries, that's going on here and there. Most notably today, Mitchell Robinson, it was announced that he rolled his right ankle and he's questionable for tomorrow. What do you think? Do you think, if it were me, given, Mitch's size and he's still young, I don't feel like he has the body to be a 30 plus per night player yet at the center position. So I'd let him rest. I'd make sure that ankle was healed, especially given last year he missed some time with a sprained ankle, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, he was out from mid-December to mid-January. He's out for, I think, about a month exactly. I mean, look, we live in an age where the odds-on title favorite right now is going to rest their second best player and a guy who was the third or fourth, I think it was third place MVP finisher last year. They're going to be exceedingly cautious with him. So for a young team that is not at all looking to win anything this year of real significance, I think it goes without saying that they can and should take it easy with him where the injury is concerned. You add on top of, sorry, what was that?
Uh, don't worry about it. I'll block those. I'll mute that guy out.
Oh,
I'll mute him out. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add on to that. You add on to it the fact that the Knicks, the one thing I think, well, other than just not having enough talent on some nights, the one thing that could really derail this season is guys in the locker room who are not getting enough minutes, starting to chirp about that. So it's not the best solution, but a solution is, it's the wear and tear of the NBA season. Guys don't play 82 games anymore. Hell, guys don't play 72 games anymore. So, the fact that he's going to be out, it's like, all right, obviously Mitchell Robinson is one of the 2 or 3 players that every Knicks fan, every person in the Knicks organization wants to see out there as much as possible. But if it's like, all right, we got a couple injuries to start the season. If that means that there's not going to be any chirping about playing time, about who gets off the bench and who doesn't get off the bench for a day or 2 or 3, it's like, you find silver linings where you can. In terms of how many minutes a night he should play, he played 20 minutes a game last season. If he plays 25 minutes a game this season, I'd be happy. I think that is probably a realistic expectation for him, given his age, his skill level, where he's at. So, yeah.
Now, do you think? See, I'm one of the guys that believe he maybe needs another year. Last year, he only came off the bench. He came off the bench half the season. He started the second half of the season. I feel like he needs more time coming off the bench. What do you think?
Month or so of the season.
The last month or so. I think he needs a little bit more time to come off the bench. That center spot is a big job, and it's bruising. It can be painful for some players, right? Because there's a lot of strong players down there, and I'm just concerned about his body. If his body can handle being a starting center every night, 25 to 30 minutes a game. I'd like to see him get a little bit more seasoning coming off the bench, playing, I don't know if it would be Bobby Portis or Taj Gibson playing behind one of those guys, learning the ropes a little bit. It would have been nice to have a guy like a DeAndre Jordan if he would have stayed, but we know how all that stuff went, because I thought he was a great mentor for Mitch. I'd like to see him get a little bit more seasoning. I don't have a problem with him starting. If he starts, that's cool. Put him in the fire, let him learn and learn how to deal with those getting into foul trouble and those type of things. But I'd like to see him get a little bit more seasoning before we put him out there.
So, I mean, I think it comes down to not figuring out what the priorities are for the season, because I think every smart Knicks fan knows what the priorities are for this season. The priority is to have the organization go through a 6-month period where it feels good about itself. And I know I probably shouldn't say this, but that there's good press or maybe a lack of terrible press, in that just like this stink, this black cloud that has emerged and risen above the franchise since the end of June, that needs to disappear, because that's not helping anybody. No matter what your perspective is on how this team eventually emerges as a real team that could compete for real stuff, that needs to go away. But other than that, and I shouldn't even say other than that, part and parcel with that is having the young guys who could theoretically become the core of this team for the next 5-10 years. They need to produce, and not only produce, they need to grow and get better. So then the question becomes, how do those young players get better? And I think that with Mitch in particular, that leads to an interesting discussion, because on one hand, you could say, well, at some point, he's going to need to learn to deal with the best centers in the NBA trying night in and night out, because there's actually, despite the devaluation of the position, there's still a lot of good centers, trying to foul him out and making an effort to foul him out. And like guards that he gets switched on, knowing his propensity for trying to block those shots, trying to foul him out. So that's on one side where you're trying to be like, all right, he has to learn how to deal with that. But on the other side, it's like, all right, well, if he tries to learn how to deal with that and he gets those fouls, then he gets out of the game quickly and he doesn't get a chance to play, which is the most important thing
right.
to learning and growing and getting better. So, I'm not even going to sit here and pretend I have the right answer. I do think there's an argument for both sides. At the end of the day, for me, you put him in as the starter because he's good enough to be the starter right now, and it's on him to fix those foul problems. And he showed improvement on that end towards the end of last season. So I think there's hope there.
Yeah. And if he does not play versus the Spurs tomorrow, who do you have start? Who do you?
So I think I posted it just before 3:00. I had what I thought at the time was kind of a crazy theory that they would start Bobby Portis and Morris and Randle in the front court, because I think the front office likes Portis. I think Fizdale likes Portis. I think this, if there's one way to characterize this organization since Perry has come aboard, it's the idea of trying to unlock untapped potential.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't really happened thus far. Happened with Vonleh a little bit last year, but otherwise it doesn't really happen. It happened with Trey Burke, the year before a little bit.
Yeah.
It hasn't really happened. So I think they're going to give Portis that chance every opportunity they get. So then if you got those three, in the front court, RJ Barrett's going to be the shooting guard. And then, all right, well, what are you going to do at point guard? I was like, you know what? I think it's crazy, but I have a feeling maybe they give Trier a shot, because if you take Fizdale at his word, and the preseason was really an open competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
The point guards, Dennis Smith Jr., Elfrid Payton, and Frank Ntilikina, shot a combined 24% from the field. 24%. That would get you benched in baseball. No, it would. It would get you benched in baseball.
Right? That's crazy.
So
24%.
So if your thinking is, I want to run the offense through Randle and Barrett anyway, which it seems pretty obvious that they want to do, not to mention Mook Morris, who takes up a fair share of usage in his own right. Most of those possessions end in shots, but that's fine. And Trier's a guy who, listen, he has a lot of faults. I spent part of my last podcast dedicating some time to talking about those faults and how they're incredibly frustrating. But you can't deny the fact that the guy gets to the free throw line, he gets buckets, he gets to the basket. If he just shows enough willingness to move the ball, which he kind of has done. He only got a couple opportunities, but it wasn't terrible. It's not as insane as I would have thought that it would have been if you had asked me this question 2 weeks ago.
Listen, it really isn't, because 2 weeks ago, actually, I know you know who Tony Crow is. I was on the phone with him, and he said, hey, I was thinking about something. I had this idea. What if they started Trier and RJ Barrett in the backcourt?
Yeah.
Right? Because at the time, I forgot which preseason game it was, but it was apparent that our point guards were not going to be able to shoot the ball. Right? Yeah. And I did an episode, and I said, we really need shooting from that 1 and 2 spot. I mean, RJ Barrett was shooting well, right? Okay, I guess. I think he's shooting 33% from 3.
Yeah.
The point guards, like you said, 24%. So, what are we going to do there? He said, well, RJ Barrett is a good facilitator. He can facilitate a little bit. He's not as worried about his shot as Trier, but Trier can shoot the ball. He's efficient from the floor. He said, what if you start RJ Barrett and Trier? And size-wise, it works, right? Because Trier is 6'4", 6'5". RJ Barrett is 6'7". So RJ Barrett can still guard the shooting guard. Alonzo Trier can guard the point guard. And he's a decent defender. So I did a video about it. And surprisingly, there were a lot of people, some people, of course, Knicks fans were, that's trash. There were a lot of people that said, you know what? That might really work. And then lo and behold, today, it's a possibility. You know what I mean? Because throughout the preseason, the first 2 games, I was like, where's Trier? Why is Trier not playing? We kind of had discussions about it. And some people came up with, well, maybe Fizdale kind of knows what he can do already and wants to work some other people out. But listen, if he went with Alonzo Trier and RJ Barrett in the backcourt, along with Julius Randle, and Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
Right. I think it would work because there's shooting. There's enough shooting. That's one thing that I was really worried about after preseason is Julius Randle seemed to get in trouble a lot, going to the basket. And part of the reason is because there just wasn't enough shooting around him to spread that floor out.
Well, you had 5 guys with a foot in the paint, right? And honestly, with some of those lineups that they were trying out there, like, can you blame them? I mean, they're traditional point guards. No one's guarding those guys on the 3-point line. It just, I mean, that is what it is. RJ Barrett at this point, I mean, I'm very hopeful based on what we've seen thus far that his 3-point shot is going to continue to progress. But right now, again, if you're a defense and RJ Barrett is shooting a 3 against you, you have won the possession. You feel great about what you have accomplished, as you should. So, even Randle, Randle, like he was better last year. I think, could he shoot 36, 37% from 3 this year? Maybe. I don't know. But again, like, the defenses are going to be happy giving up that shot. So you put all those things together and you ask yourself, well, who are the 3-point shooters on this team that opposing teams are actually going to fear? In my mind, there's 3 names that come to mind. Ellington, which you want to ask me my ideal starting lineup. Ellington might be in there, and slide everybody down a position. Put RJ at the 3, either Mook or Knox at the 4. Second guy is Knox. I think Knox is going to come close to 40% from deep, like he says he wants to get to.
Too. Yep, I think so too.
The form looks great. I mean, his shot is just so smooth. And then the third guy is Trier, who shot close to 40% last year. It's, none of the nominal point guards, like Frank makes some pretty passes. Dennis Smith Jr. makes some athletic plays that puts him in a position to make passes other guys may not be able to make. But none of those 3 guys are what you would call none of them are Chris Paul in terms of the passes that they see that others may not see. They're going to see the pass that's easily seen. Trier could do that, right? It's not a question of whether he can do that. It's a question of whether he is willing to do that.
Right.
And that's really what we're talking about here. Is he going to be willing to do that? And I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think anybody does, but maybe they're going to give him a shot to find out.
And looking at the guys that he's playing with this year, when you got someone like Mook Morris on the floor, now he gets into his times as well where, he's dribbling the ball at the top of the key or on the wing, looking to take a shot or pull up or whatever he's going to do. But if one of these guys, Julius Randle, Mook Morris, Bobby Portis, tells Alonzo Trier, hey, we need you to do this, I don't see him having a retort the same way he did to Tim Hardaway Jr.
I hope not.
It's going to be different.
Theoretically, that's why they got these guys, right? Because
Exactly.
they think they're the type of guys that will get respect from a guy like Alonzo Trier. Now, they'll get respect if Trier is playing, but and I wonder if that has something to do with this, because clearly he was, I don't know how closely you follow his Instagram or whatever he put that up on, but like, he could say whatever he wants. He was the one who was chirping about not coming off the bench. So, we'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Hey, we'll see how it goes. Now, all right. So let's say we do start with Trier, Barrett, Mook, Randle, and Bobby Portis. Then our bench is looking like Frank and DSJ. It could work, right? Because Dennis Smith Jr. is a little bit more of a scoring guard than and Frank Ntilikina is a passer.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of got that. I don't want to say lightning and thunder, but you got the guy that can get to the basket. I don't want to say
rain and mist.
Yeah, right. Something. But you got a guy that can get to the basket, and then you got Frank. That'll distribute the ball. But Frank is 6'7". Dennis Smith Jr. is 6'3", 6'4", whatever he is. So it works size-wise as far as playing defense. Kevin Knox at the 3, I guess. Taj Gibson at the 4 or 5. Trying to think who I'm missing.
Well, Taj might be out now too, because he has a sore calf, I think it is. Yeah, he's a sore calf.
Yeah, but I think I seen a video from David Fizdale just a few minutes ago on YouTube.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He thinks he'll be okay for tomorrow.
Okay, well that changes things, because I was kind of anticipating them having Randle get the backup 5 minutes, backup center minutes, and then having, I guess, Knox as the backup 4, which he's capable of. I don't know if it's ideal. And then maybe you throw in Frank or Dot at the 3, and Ellington's backup 2.
That's right. I forgot all about Ellington. Yeah.
Listen, I gotta say, Ellington's gonna play this year.
Yes.
I could see him being a guy who has a handful or a couple handfuls of those DNP rest nights, because he's a vet, and it just it makes sense. But on nights when he's active, I'd be really surprised if Ellington did not get off the bench. He played every game of preseason. I think his shooting off of movement in particular, coming around screens, and just in general, his activity off the ball, right? Like, there's the one thing about this team, there's a few things that are sorely missing, but one thing that stands out to me on some offensive possessions is when it's like you got one guy at top of the key with the ball and there's 4 guys standing around. If you have Ellington on the floor, that's not going to happen. He moves a lot, which is important, and I think they need it out there.
Yeah, and I was actually, the first game when the Knicks played the Wizards, I was very impressed with the way the offense looked, especially when Wayne Ellington was on the floor, because there was so much movement, him running off screens and things like that. So I'm anxious to see more of that. That's one area where I think Alonzo Trier, given that he's a shooting guard, he needs to work on those, being able to run off screens, shoot off of screens, catch a shoot, all of those things, hit, catching the ball off curls and shoot without putting the ball on the floor. I think in the last preseason game, maybe it was I don't know if it was the last preseason game, but there was one play that I seen with Alonzo Trier that really signifies, to me, it's kind of what he does in a microcosm of what he does. They were on a fast break, and whoever it was pushed it up the sideline. He caught the ball on the sideline, and it was either Bobby Portis or Julius Randle in the post. Okay. But before he made the pass, he took a dribble, and then he tried to make a pass, and he couldn't get the pass in, right? But that's kind of what he needs, those rhythm dribbles to find the rhythm in the feel of the basketball, which concerns me about him having the ability to come off screens and curls and things like Wayne Ellington does and get those shots off. But I think that's the next step of his game if he wants to be, if he ever wants to try to move himself into a starting position in the league. Now, if he starts this, tomorrow night, then, he's starting. We'll see how long that lasts. But to be a consistent starter, if he's going to get there, most people think he's going to be like a Lou Williams guy, but that's what I think he needs to do if he's going to get there.
But the thing about Lou Williams is like, I know Lou Williams has the reputation of a guy who will come off the bench and just, he'll just get you buckets. Lou Williams is a good passer. Like, he's not an okay passer. He's a good passer. His connection with, with Trez, who we're going to see tonight in LA, is one of the best pick. It was an unstoppable pick and roll combination. When you want to talk about like what can Lou Williams do, even like Jamal Crawford, another guy that gets his name gets tossed around when talking about like Trier comps. Like Crawford, again, was never a great passer, but he was an okay passer. He was a good enough passer to keep defenses honest. And even these guys, for the majority of their career, were never starters, because if you're in the NBA and you have a reputation, an earned reputation as a ball stopper, you can't start. Like these guys, the only people who have reputations as ball stoppers that start are guys like Russell Westbrook and,
Right.
I'm trying to, James Harden, like the 5 or 10 best players in the league. And all due respect to Alonzo Trier, he's not that. So it's going to be really interesting as to whether playing with better players, and like that's the thing that we could finally say with this team, right? Is like, say what you want about the faults of the guys that they brought in. A starting lineup with Julius Randle and RJ Barrett and Marcus Morris in it, that's not short on talent. It might be a little short on shooting, but it's a talented starting lineup. It's guys that could do stuff and guys that draw attention when they have the ball. So I'm really curious to see, because last year when Trier was in the game, he wasn't playing with good guys. He was playing with guys who are not, probably NBA players in a lot of the case. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Like I said, it's an unknown. Like so much with this team is an unknown this year. But I'm curious to see what happens.
Do you expect to see that offense? I've been looking and waiting. Like I said, the first game, there was a lot of things that I saw. The following 3 games, well, the last game versus the Pelicans, I think it was better, right? And we saw more. Do you expect to see that playbook open up a little bit more in this Spurs game? I mean, I know it's early, and
don't mind me. I'm just transferring location so I can get to the charger. Oh, never mind. Here we
go. Do you expect to see that playbook opened up a little bit more?
I expect to see the playbook be like, let's say this. I don't think that they're going to try to turn into a pace and space team overnight. Because I just don't think they have the personnel for that. But I think they've been trying to run some stuff that is at least interesting to me. And I think it's designed. I'd go back to the same thing. David Fizdale doesn't have a lot to hang his hat on in terms of what he did with this team last year. But one thing that they were really good at is they got to the free throw line. And I think everything that they do is designed to get guys, either talented one-on-one players, in situations where they could take advantage of a mismatch and like get a shot close to the basket that has a decent chance of resulting in a free throw, or get guys going downhill where as they're getting towards the basket, they're likely to, get to the free throw line. So I just think like what's become in vogue in the NBA now is just a matter of, it's just trying to like get like open shots. That's really sophisticated offense. And it's like what we saw, Golden State do, and, the Spurs before them. And like, I don't think that that's Fizdale's MO. I don't think we're ever going to see that from Fizdale. And I think people who are frustrated with Fizdale's offensive sets, they keep waiting to see something like that. And I just think, you're going to be waiting until the 12th of never. I don't think we're going to get that.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
But just one other thought on that. I think when people when outside observers critique the moves that this team made this summer, I think they do so under the guise of this is the NBA in 2019. You have to build a team that could play the style of ball like the Warriors have played for the last 5 years. And I just, that's not realistic. It's like they were blessed with two of the greatest shooters to ever live. James Harden and the Rockets. I mean, it's like when you have a once in a generation matchup advantage like that, yeah, sure, you could play a certain style of ball. When you have to build the thing organically and just try to do it the way the Knicks are doing it, I think it kind of makes sense to corner a market that has maybe become undervalued, which is, again, a guy like Julius Randle. Julius Randle,
Okay.
not to get too far off track here, but Julius Randle, they signed him to a 3-year deal, third-year player option for $19 million a year for a guy that is a walking bucket one-on-one when you get him in the right matchup. Is it really the worst idea to design an offense around getting that guy in situations where he could take advantage of whoever's defending him, even if it's not like a wide open shot for like some guard on the 3-point line? So I know that was a long-winded way of saying I think we're going to still see some isolation ball this year, but I think that is to a certain extent by design. And maybe with some better players, it could actually work. We'll
Okay.
see.
Now, and that leads me right into what was going to be my next thing. Julius Randle, Fizdale, we seen in the preseason, was running a lot of point forward with him, and he said it before the preseason began that he was going to run some point forward with Julius Randle. He thinks he can.
Yep.
He's that versatile of a player. I expect to see less of it in the regular season than we've seen it in the preseason, at least a little bit less. But how do you feel about it so far?
In general, I again, it's like most people think of the NBA nowadays in such a binary fashion in terms of like there's things that you should be trying to do, and there's things that if it's not one of the things that everybody approves of you trying to do, then it's a waste of time. And the idea of building a roster with multiple guys who are big dudes and that are capable of grabbing a rebound and just going with it, like no one else is trying to do that, because it's like, oh, well, why would we waste time trying to do that when there's better stuff that we could be trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think why shouldn't they be trying that? Like, how many guys can credibly play the 5? And I understand Julius Randle doesn't offer any modicum of rim protection. I get that. But we also live in a switch-happy league where rim protectors are increasingly getting pulled out from the rim towards the 3-point line, and not being rendered useless. That's going too far. But the idea of like you need a good rim protector because otherwise you're gonna have a layup line, like those days are done. So if you could figure out some way to make a non-rim protecting 5 advantageous enough, sure, go for it. And the sight of Julius Randle as your 5 rolling down the court, with some shooting around him, or even forget about shooting, with just like guys who could do stuff with the ball, like RJ Barrett, right? Or Alonzo Trier. Like, that's exciting to me. I think that's interesting. It's something that I want to see more of. And for every person out there who criticized like their summer signings about, well, it's going to take time away from Mitch in the middle. Like, that's not my biggest critique. My biggest critique of the Portis signing, if anything, is that it's going to take time away from Randle in the middle and seeing Randle at the 5, which I think could really offer some interesting possibilities. So if Mitch and Taj are both out tomorrow, I'm excited to see,
Okay. Look forward to seeing
point Randle at the 5. Why not?
Hey, you know what? If Randle's at the 5, it's going to force teams to play small to have to match up with him because he will abuse opposing fives that are. Randall's what 6'9", 6'10",
He's 6'9", I think. He's a solid 6'9", though.
right?
Yeah.
And if he's playing against if a center that is 7 foot, 7'1" is trying to guard Randall out on the perimeter, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. You're going to force teams to go small, which then he can abuse most people in the post that are his size. So yeah.
Yeah, I think tomorrow it'll just be interesting because the Spurs, they're a smart team. They take advantage of any weakness, any opening. They're gonna gut you if they get a chance. So, if the Knicks can't be smart enough on defense to keep up with the Spurs' actions, then the alternative is to just switch everything.
Right.
And that in and of itself could get complicated. But the nice thing with potentially some of the lineups that they could now put out there with this roster is they really do have a chance to do a whole lot of switching, especially if they put RJ at the 2. RJ, that he's big enough to be a 4 in the NBA today. So I think that, again, not something a whole lot of people are excited about. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. So I know we got about 5 minutes before I know you gotta head out of here. What is your prediction on tomorrow's game?
Tomorrow's game?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I was actually planning on looking tomorrow morning on their record in San Antonio over the last several years, and I off the top of my head, I don't know it. It feels like it should be bad, but I don't know. I know they beat the Spurs last year. I would actually argue that their game against the Spurs last season, I think I would say that it was their best win of the year. I think so, because that was it was Oscar night. I remember that. It was a good game. They played well that game. I think they'll be in it. I think there's a real sense from this team that the Knicks, the people that the Knicks have hired to do PR for this team are very good at their job, and they know what to put out there on social media that will get people like you and me hyped up and excited.
Right.
And all the stuff about the dogs and underdogs and the whole mentality and bringing this and that back to the Garden, and it's the 90s again and all of that wonderful stuff. They know what they're doing. At the same time, if you're a human being with a phone, or forget a phone, with ears, you heard everybody and their mother around the NBA this offseason just absolutely taking a crap all over the Knicks and everything they did and every player they signed.
That's right.
You can't tell me that everybody in that locker room has not spent a good deal of time thinking about that and internalizing that and just being like, all right, I've been considered one of the best people in the world at what I do for the last 5-10 years. But you're going to tell me that, my decision making in terms of the choice of franchise that I'm with is a joke. I have to think they're going to go out and put forth a real effort now. And the reason I think it'll be a close game is not necessarily because of what I think the Knicks will do, but because the Spurs, for as wonderful of an organization as that is, over the last few years, they have not put a product on the floor that is capable of just eviscerating teams. They get hot on some nights, but for the most part, they don't shoot a lot of threes. They don't get to the rim a lot. They shoot a lot of mid-rangers. They play the type of methodical game that is it's more like death by a thousand paper cuts as opposed to the way the Warriors used to beat you. So I think from that perspective, at the very least, they'll be in the game. The Knicks will be in the game in the fourth quarter. Will they win it? I mean, who the hell knows? We'll see. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. I just, there's been so much talk for so many months now, and I just I'm done with it. I just want it to
I feel
end,
you.
and I want to talk about basketball, even if it's not good basketball, even if I
Exactly.
have things to complain about. I just want to talk about basketball. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Just so much garbage out there,
Yeah.
and it gets me frustrated, and I have to restrain myself from not saying stuff when I get on here and try to gloss over that and focus on basketball. Every
It's
once in a
tough,
while, it
man.
comes out.
It's tough. I'm telling you, man. I do my podcast, and it's like it's weird because not to go off on a tangent, but like before I started doing the pod and like getting some attention and with the Twitter and the site and everything, it's like I would say anything and I wouldn't think twice about it. And now it's like, you say the wrong thing and you go too far in a certain direction and the wrong person sees it. And it's like, you're
Right.
going to be dealing with just a shitstorm. Sorry to curse.
No, it's good.
So, I'm like you, I'm always trying to be more, I guess, measured in my responses to things. But at the same time, I feel it too. It's like, come on, like, really? Like, yeah, I get it. They lost this offseason. They lost. It was a loss.
Hmm.
But to act like this was the calamity that it was made out to be is just,
Yeah, it's
you know,
just
too
yeah,
far.
right. Yeah. Um, before you head on out, why don't you just
Yep.
tell everybody, where they can find you, and I'll definitely make sure I have everything in the description, and I'm gonna put it here in the YouTube chat as well.
You could find me in my glorious kitchen right here. No, you can, where can you find me? Okay, so Knicks Film School podcast. There is a link to. Actually, is there a link in my Twitter profile? I don't even know. There should be a link in my Twitter profile. Is
I'm
there? Who knows?
not
But I
sure.
tweet out new episodes every time they're out. And obviously, you could just search your podcast provider for Knicks Film School, and it'll come up. Twitter at JC Macri. That's JCMACRI NBA.
Hmm.
And then last but not least, if you are watching this, you are probably a Knicks fan. If you want to get your Knicks news, opinions, analysis, stats, video, social media stuff, everything of relevance just delivered to you in your inbox every day for the grand total of $0. Um, go ahead and subscribe to the Knicks Film School newsletter. That link 100% is in my Twitter profile. So you go and find that. And yeah, it's about it. I appreciate you having me on. I love talking to you because like, you know, when I do podcasts, it's like kind of generic. And when I get on with you, I know I'm just talking hoops, which is it's always refreshing.
Yeah, I
And I know
appreciate that.
at the same time, you're not always going to agree with me, which I appreciate as well, because
Hmm.
you are above anybody else. You are true to your opinions, and you don't care if like people are going to get on you about it. You're going to say what you think, which I
Yeah,
really appreciate
I
always.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate it. Well, hey, we got to do it again, man. I
Absolutely,
know.
for sure.
Yeah, it was a year before. I mean, I had so much going on, but it was a year before you got to get back on. But hopefully, it'd be sooner than that.
How about this? When they are still in the thick of the playoff race, I'm knocking on wood. Around Thanksgiving, maybe I'll hop back on around then. How
Right
about that?
there, you go. All right, sounds good, man.
Awesome, brother. I'll,
All right,
I'll
man.
talk to you soon. Be
All
well.
right, talk to you later. Have a good one.
You too. Peace.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jonathan Macri. Make sure you check him out, knicksfilmschool.com. And you heard all of his information. It'll be in the description. And, as I get everything, I'll make sure I put it in the YouTube chat as well. If you guys want to jump into the video chat, you can join me. All right, whereby.com/NBK. Give me a call, 516-405-2246. And we're going to continue to talk Knicks. Right? At this moment, we're going to go ahead and break down some of this stuff with the Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs, because that's what's coming up next. Our first game of the season, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited, and I know you're very excited for the first game of the season, as the Knicks will travel to San Antonio to take on the San Antonio Spurs. And look, the Spurs are a team that Man, every time we play the Spurs, it's an adventure for me. You know what I mean? It's like we can play the Spurs and we can beat them sometimes. We can play the Spurs on a Sunday afternoon, and for whatever it is, it feels like there's been a lot of times in the previous years, in the last few years, that we've played them on Sunday afternoons at the Garden. I don't know if we played them at the Garden on a Sunday afternoon this year, but we get smacked. I mean, I've seen us at the Garden get smacked by the Spurs playing them on a Sunday afternoon. You know, so it's always an adventure playing the Spurs. These current Spurs teams, though, are not the same. They're different. They're a little bit different. Chester, thank you for the super chat. You said, Sim, you and Macri together, what a treat. Yeah. That was, I like having, he's going to be on the show more often too. And hopefully I'll be able to get over on his podcast as well. But yeah, it's always an adventure for me when we play the Spurs, man. But let's take a look at what the projected starters are for the Knicks and the Spurs. All right. For the Knicks, the projected starters, I don't know. For 2/3 of this team, of this starting five, or 2/5 of the starting five, let me say that. I don't know 2/5 of the starting five. Point guard, we don't know. Shooting guard, rest assured, is going to be RJ Barrett. Small forward, Marcus Morris. Power forward, Julius Randle. And at center, we don't know. It was going to be Mitchell Robinson. I'm pretty positive of that. It was going to be Mitchell Robinson, but Mitchell Robinson may be out with a sprained right ankle. All right. He may be out with a sprained right ankle. I guess he did it in practice. He rolled his ankle in practice. So if he's out, then who do you start? Do you start Bobby Portis or do you start Taj Gibson? All right. There's benefits and there's not benefits to both. I couldn't find the words that I wanted to say. All right. The benefits to starting Taj Gibson, he can play defense. Yeah, he's 6'9", 6'10", but he can still play defense at that center position. Right? Now, Taj Gibson is 34 years old. He's not going to block a lot of shots. He used to block about one and a half. He used to get about 1.5 blocks per game. Now, he's down to about a half a block, 0.6 of a block, or whatever you want to call it. Right? So, but he can still play defense. He can spread the floor a little bit. He's not as fluent of a three-point shooter as Bobby Portis, but he can hit it. Right? He was hitting it throughout the preseason. He can hit it from mid-range. Okay? So he can help spread the floor for Taj Gibson, Marcus Morris, RJ Barrett, and if Trier's in the starting lineup, or whoever the point guard is in the starting lineup, he can help spread the floor for those guys. Now, with Bobby Portis, gives you a little bit more height because he's 6'11", but he can't get off the floor, so he's not blocking any shots. He doesn't have a lot of lift, but he can play decent. Oh, he can play good enough defense, I guess. On his man, calling out. Being one of those linebackers on the defense that can, talk a lot, call out defense, and tell guys to switch or do whatever they need to do. He can play good team defense. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to get at. And then, of course, he can spread the floor. He's a fluent shooter. He is a shooter. Right? So, that's the pros and cons of starting Taj Gibson or Bobby Portis. We'll see which way Coach Fizdale goes. I think it's going to be Bobby Portis. One, because he's a little bit taller and he can spread the floor better than Taj Gibson. Two, because Taj Gibson already had a sore right calf. But we'll see the way that Fizdale wants to go in that situation. All right. And once again, injuries are, Mitchell Robinson, like I said, sprained right ankle. Taj Gibson, sore right calf. Reggie Bullock is still out with a neck injury. For the Spurs were 2-3 during the preseason. DeJounte Murray, start point guard. Brian Forbes or Bryn Forbes, I'm not exactly sure who he is. I'm going to be honest with you. Not exactly sure who the guy is. Starting that shooting guard. At least he was starting that shooting guard throughout the preseason. DeMar DeRozan at small forward, LaMarcus Aldridge at power forward, and Trey Lyles at center. Obviously, this is not your father's Spurs. Right? This is not your father's Spurs right here. The game is played Wednesday, and that it should be Wednesday with an A. But I spelled it wrong. So that's tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. at the AT&T Center in San Antonio. All right, and listen, the Knicks, the first 3 games of the season, it's no walk in the park for the Knicks. You got the Spurs, you got the Nets, and then you got Boston. All right, and out of those teams, Boston is probably the best of those teams, but San Antonio, you can never count San Antonio out. They haven't been, that same old team. But you can't count San Antonio out. You can't count out Coach Popovich. And the one thing I say about Fizdale, I like Fizdale, but he doesn't have the same experience in X's and O's that Popovich has. He's not going to back down. We know that. We heard that a few years back in the playoffs. But it's not, so he's not going to back down, but you don't need to not back down in order to get out-coached. So that's one area. Whenever any team that plays the Spurs, you're worried about getting out coached because Greg Popovich can keep teams in the game just because he can coach. He can make a team competitive because of his basketball mind and, the assistant coaches that he has on the bench and all that good stuff. All right. So those, we don't exactly know what the matchups are going to be. But right now, that's what we have. That's what we have. We're going to see, I guess tomorrow, Coach Fizdale will announce his starting 5. And then you'll get a better chance. You'll get a better look at those matchups. Let's take a look. I want to take a look at some of the preseason numbers, and I know that these are preseason numbers, and it may not even have a bearing on the regular season, but it's all the numbers we have to go by right now. All right, that's all we have to go by. So let's begin with the Knicks preseason numbers, and I'm going to bring it over here. I know you're not going to be able to see this well because it's very small, right? I just didn't have time to blow it up, so I had to go this route. All right, so I'm going to bring this on over here. If you can see it, good. If you can't, then I'm going to read it out for you. In the preseason, the Knicks averaged 103.8 points per game. They shot 42% from the field, 34.1% from 3. All right, they averaged 48.5 rebounds per game, 22.8 assists per game, and 17.5 turnovers per game, which those turnovers were, they were 5th in the league in turning the ball over. 4th or 5th in the league in turning the ball over, I think they are. Or in taking care of the ball, actually. 4th or 5th in the league in taking care of the ball. Let's see if we can continue to take care of the basketball. Right? And actually make that better. Because when you're a team that doesn't shoot well, you've got to be able to take care of that basketball. Because if you don't take care of the basketball, then obviously you're going to be in trouble. All right, now let's take a look at the Spurs. All right, and the Spurs on the preseason, the Spurs were 2-3 on the preseason. They shot 44.5% from the field, 39.8% from 3. So we got to guard that 3-point line. All right, they grabbed 44.2 rebounds per game, 24.4 assists per game, and they only turned the ball over 18 times, similar to the Knicks. All right, so, and you expect that from a Popovich team. You know what I mean? You expect that. They're not going to turn the ball over a whole heck of a lot. All right, that's just how Greg Popovich gets down. So those are the numbers. We know, just looking at the numbers, they're shooting 40% from 3. We're going to have to guard that 3-point line, which is an area where we struggled, right? We struggled guarding that 3-point line against Wizards. That one game, at least. That one game. 103 points per game. Look, the Spurs, they averaged 104 points per game. So, let's see. This might be a game that's going to be more competitive than most people think. Everyone looks and thinks about the Spurs. They think about the Spurs of old. This isn't the Spurs of old. It's a different Spurs team. Obviously, they got Greg Popovich that can coach, and he's always going to find a way to put players in position. You know what I'm saying? That's just what Greg Popovich does. We know that. All right, we know that. But let's see. This could be a very different game than most of us are expecting. So, let's get to, let's see. We got somebody in the video chat. Let's see who this is. Guillermo's in the video chat. Guillermo, what's popping, man? How you feeling? Guillermo, you there? Can you hear me?
Yo, what's up?
What's good with you, bro? How you feeling?
About the game tomorrow, man?
Yeah, man. How you feeling about the game tomorrow?
I don't know, man. I'm still trying to get over my Jets, but let's get to this basketball thing.
You might as well get over them, because just get over that. Don't even get me started.
Oh, my Lord. But, yeah, man, you made good points on the Spurs, man. Like, you and Macri, it's not the Spurs of old, but, when you look at that team, I don't know if DeJounte Murray is still hurt. But guys like Lonnie Walker, you saw him in the preseason, the summer league, he looked good. He's athletic. I think his shooting has improved. And they still got Aldridge, and it's right. They are a team that they kill you with like 1,000 little cuts, right? And that might work to our favor because we can't defend the perimeter. And I'm really scared that Fizdale just doesn't really have a plan in place to get this team to play good team basketball in that sense. So I'm really scared for that. With the lineups and stuff, man, look, I said it here, Sim, that R.J. Barrett could be a point – I guess he'd be a point guard still, but, you know what I mean, like a point shooting guard, if that makes sense, or a point forward, whatever. I like him I like him moving the ball. And until we get the proper point guard that is the ones who can beat his man off the dribble and facilitate – we're gonna have to just basically push the ball around and have guys move around. I think that when you get R.J. Barrett in space with that pick and roll, he could be very effective, and he could pass well out that double team. So to have him and Trier, I don't mind it. Trier is also not a bad defensive player, just inconsistent. So him, Trier, and then hopefully Mitch is healthy. I don't mind it at all. But then look, if we start Portis in because Mitch is hurt, that perimeter is going to be crowded unless they make Randle play his more effective spot, which is around that paint area. We talk about point forward. I think you play Randle in as a point forward in spots. You don't play him as a point forward for like 60, 70, 60, even maybe 50% of the game. You play him in spots to kind of throw the other team off rhythm, to get guys moving. A guy like Trier could cut to the basket. So Trier no longer has to be on the perimeter, wait to get the ball and dribble. He can cut to the basket. Randle pass him that pass from the foul line. Those are easy buckets. Same thing with with RJ. So in terms of getting RJ the ball as he's transitioned to the basket. So Fizdale has to be more creative. I think that I saw in the preseason. I don't like how he's using Randle a lot of times in a point forward role. That wasn't how he was effective when he was with the Pelicans. Fizdale he just has to do a better job on coaching these guys and getting the right game plans. Coming out of timeouts, coming out of dead balls, dead ball timeouts, or whatever you want to call it. Better plays, man. That last second shot where it was Trier, they pass it to Randle, he tried to give it to Trier or fake it to Trier. I understand it's the last second shot, but there was no rhyme or reason. Like there's no creativity in terms of that. And you've seen that even last year. I know we were tanking, but last year many times Fizdale didn't have good answers coming out of the timeouts or out of the breaks. Even though they said the Knicks, I think, averaged a high amount come out of the timeouts, but I didn't see it. But it is what it is, man. I just hope that there's rhyme and reason to it. Guys are gonna be pissed, guys are gonna be mad, but we're still experimenting. We're still trying to get guys time here and there. These guys got to show and prove on defense, especially. I think if you do that, you're gonna get minutes. But,
yeah. I'm just hoping you know, with when you're talking about the Spurs offense and the way they run their offense, and I think Jonathan Macri kind of touched on it a little bit. These guys got to be on point because they can get confused real quick, and I don't want to see layup lines from the Spurs. You know what I mean?
I agree, but the only thing that saves is that they're not good 3-point shooters. You got DeMar DeRozan, Lonnie Walker. You know, it's the second year, I think.
Yeah, but they're shooting almost in the preseason. They shot about 40% from three. So,
golly, so that might kill us. Then. I'm just,
so, you know, we got to be ready for it. City, what do you think, man?
On which part?
On just about the Spurs, just about the game in general.
I think the game. I think we might be all right, man. Our recent stuff, like we've played the Spurs relatively well, even dating back to the Melo days or whatever. So I think we'll be. I think we'll be all right. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I want to touch on something real quick. Okay. So when we had that, Randle had that last shot of the game or whatever, right? The other day, our last preseason game. Here's one thing that we should have did that I felt like Fizz should have did, right? The best way to get your production, and you want to see what your players are about. We want to see what RJ is about. We should have throw him in the fire, give him the last shot of the game. Let's see what he got, because you know what? Preseason is not going to mean nothing. So why not give the Rook a chance to do something exciting? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Although I know it could turn either way. Like, you know what I mean? It could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. But at the end of the day, we want to see what this kid's got. If they always say the best way of learning is to throw them in the fire, we should have thrown them in the fire right there.
Okay. I mean, I think that in that situation, I think they probably wanted to see what Randle can do, since he's the money guy. He's the guy that they're counting on to be, you know what I mean?
Right.
The player. I think they probably wanted to see what Randle could do, you know. But listen, I think RJ's gonna get his chance. You know what I mean? He's gonna get his chance. I have no doubt in my mind that he will.
I already told you, man.
Once
he gets his chance and he hits the shot, I already told you, man. I'm going to sing you the super joint that says syrup in the veins.
Okay. Hey, real quick, guys. I want to listen to David Fizdale real quick. You know, his interview just not too long ago after Knicks practice or whatever it is, shoot-arounds or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just want to listen to what he has to say about Mitchell Robinson, Taj Gibson, and the starting lineup. And then we'll take a listen to Julius Randle. And then after that, you know, we'll talk a little bit about Dennis Smith Jr. signing a Rocnation. You know what I mean? And what you guys think about that. I don't know if there's much to think about it. You know what I mean? He signed a Rocnation, but you know, we'll talk about it anyway. All right, take a listen. This is David Fizdale, folks.
Mitchell Robinson rolled his ankle yesterday, so he's questionable.
And Taj?
I think Taj will be ready to go. He went through practice today. We didn't hit a lot, but I think he's feeling better, and hopefully he'll be ready to go.
If Mitchell is ruled out, how does that impact starting lineups?
It impacts a lot of stuff, especially our defense. So, you know, hopefully he's young and he heals fast, and you know, we have him out there. But otherwise, we still got to go out there and compete to win.
What was he trying to block a shot?
He was getting the offensive rebound, and I rolled it.
Did he have to do any imaging to rule out anything? Or?
Oh no, I think all of that from the standpoint of like
an X-ray MRI.
Yeah, I don't think he needs any of that. I think it's just a regular sprain.
Were you looking at that position in terms of Portis as a starter as a better combination, or was Mitchell going to start?
I'll tell you on game day.
How are you feeling? You're going into tomorrow, year 2, Knicks coach, training camp's done. How you feeling?
Excited. Yeah, excited. I actually don't mind starting out on the road. I think it's good for us. to have to bunker in and just connect to each other and go out and play a really good basketball team.
Obviously, you don't want to have the injury, but you do have a lot of depth with the bigs. That's one of the comforting things, right?
Yeah, it's luckily enough we can have a next man up mentality if for some reason Mitchell can't go.
Are you concerned about the Spurs fans and Marcus Morris? It seems like the Spurs in general, Popovich has said some stuff about that incident.
This arena is gonna be loud. I've been in there during the finals a couple times. It's a loud building, so it is what it is.
Popovich is a very well-respected, coach, but he kind of didn't like that whole way it played out. Are you happy with the way it went down?
I'm happy Marcus Morris is a Knick. I know that, but no one wants it to go down the way it went down. That wasn't an easy decision for Marcus to change his mind, and if I was on the other side of it, I'd be upset as well. I mean, that's just natural. But I am excited and happy that Marcus Morris is a part of our family.
What's the challenge of going down to San Antonio with a coach you have to face with so many new parts?
They are really good. That's the challenge. They are just a good basketball team. They're a well-connected team. They don't make a lot of mistakes. So the challenge for us is that can we weather runs? Can we be disciplined? Can we execute our stuff in a hostile environment?
I think one of the quotes that Pop said Mark was referencing was like an unprofessionalism. I don't know if he went into any specifics, but it seems like he's talking about you guys and Marcus. I mean, did you guys have any reaction to that?
No, I got no comment on that.
Are you looking forward to seeing RJ in his first regular season game? I mean, things may be different in the regular season, right?
Yeah, I think a kid, if anybody's up for it, it's that kid. And, I'm not expecting him to work miracles. I just want him to go out there and be himself like he's been doing.
Just the point guard situation, do you have a decision?
No.
How have they made that decision difficult on you?
They've been competing. They all been competing their butts off and fighting for it. And, that's a good deal for me to have a tough decision.
How do you have to, when you come to a decision, will you go through the process of explaining it to each of those?
Absolutely. I try to communicate every move I make to those guys and why. And obviously, it's always going to be somebody that's the odd man out, but I want to make sure that I have empathy for that guy and give him his, explanation of why. And it's a long season. None of this stuff is in stone. 82 games, it could all change. So we'll see how it goes.
Do you have a pretty good read on it now, or do you want to sleep on it?
I'm getting close.
A year ago, you guys went into the season and Porzingis was on the injured list or whatever it's called. And but was it tough? I mean, do you feel a little better? Like that was hanging over the franchise's head. Now it's just these guys.
No, I just felt last year when Taps was out, we knew what we was dealing with. We knew what the situation was. So it wasn't. I never, ever got my hopes too high up, because we didn't even know if he was going to come back and play that year. So I had already got my mind wrapped around the worst case scenario. So no, I didn't feel that way, but I do feel really good about this group and going into the season with them.
So at this point, a year ago, you didn't know for sure if he'd be back. I mean, you were hopeful, but just
we were hopeful, but we didn't know if he was going to play that year. We wasn't sure yet, and that's a hard injury, and. It's good to see him back out there running around again.
And just the first few games of the schedule, like the first 5 games, 6 games, I mean, when you saw it, it's not an easy road at the beginning for a team that's still finding itself. When you saw the schedule in San Antonio and Boston and the Nets and, Boston again?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's this. I don't think it's it's no easy stretches in this league. All of these teams can beat you. And, I think it's just a good challenge for us, and we're going to embrace the challenge.
What's the process for, implementing an offense in the NBA? Is it ideally, do you want to have everything in going into game one, or do you put stuff in?
You know, it's different. It's really different based on who you know, how many guys you got returning from the year before, and you know, are you doing the same stuff as you did the year before? And you know, I think the first thing that we tried to hammer down was trying to get the ball up the court and get to proper spacing, and now really trying to hammer home the idea of moving the basketball. You know, because we got some guys that just they like to hold it in their hands and attack. And so, you know, breaking those habits, that takes time. But you're not going to have your whole offensive package in right out the gate.
So, like, just as a point of comparison, like those Miami teams who had some of the same guys back, was it ever, like, all in?
It was, a lot of it would be it. And because you were, you know, you just picking up where you left off, you know. And those guys, you're talking about veteran guys who, you know, they retain all of that information. You can hit the ground running a little more and get to, you know, get to your stuff right away. But, you know, as you put in the, you know, we got 9 new guys, and we got 6 guys from last year's team. So, you know, as much as I would like to go and have a bunch of stuff in, I can't skip any steps with the fundamentals of our offense.
What do you tell, or what advice do you give RJ in his first game?
Have fun. Have fun. This is what you've been waiting your whole life for this, and just go out there, be okay with messing up. You know, just do it out of aggression and playing hard.
Right.
And you know, that was Coach David Fizdale, ladies and gentlemen. You know, just kind of giving a quick preview or you know, talking about maybe his strategy, not really his strategies, but just a quick talk before the game tomorrow. You know what I mean? And it's very evident he's not going to release his starting 5. I think he does know who he's going to have starting. He's just saying that to the media. That's my opinion. But he's not going to release his starting 5 until game time or sometime tomorrow. You know, we'll know who the starting 5 is. And hopefully I'll get a chance. I'll be in a conference all day tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get a chance, you know, to jump on once he releases that starting 5 and, you know, say something real quick. If not, then it's cool. You know what I mean? But, you know, I don't think he said much there that we didn't already know. All right, so we're going to go on because I only got a couple minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to listen to Julius Randle. And then after we listen to Julius Randle, you know, I'm going to talk to these guys a little bit, find out what they thought about Julius Randle and Coach Fizdale, and then I'm going to be heading up out of here because I got to hit the road. Julius Randle.
Be a fun year.
I mean, there's so many new faces, and you're going to a place that, you know, has a big history of winning. I mean, how much of a challenge is this ultimately going to be on the road and what type of building?
I'm not really worried about our opponent. I mean, every night's a challenge in the NBA. Everybody can play. Anybody can win on any given night. So you got to have the respect for the opponent regardless. But we got to focus on us and what we need to do as a team.
I guess Mitch rolled his ankle yesterday, 50-50 go. If he can't go, how comfortable are you at 5 if you need to be?
It'll be fine, man. Yeah, I'll be fine. I think Mitch starting at point guard, though. I don't know. So we'll see. No, I'm messing with you. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. When he's ready to go, he'll be ready to go. You know, so I don't have no update on nothing, man. If y'all want an answer, I don't have an update on nothing, bro. I just saw him today. So, yeah.
Do you recall your first regular season game, you know, as a rookie, and what kind of wisdom can you pass on to RJ?
As a rookie, my first regular season game, Staples Center with Kobe, it was pretty fun. You know, just go out there and enjoy yourself. You're not going to be perfect, you know, but just enjoy yourself, enjoy the process, keep getting better day by day.
Anything from you put up really nice numbers in the preseason. Anything about the preseason you'd like to have back, though? Or was there anything that
No, everything is a learning experience. Everything was positive and us taking a step forward as an individual and as a team to get better. And the real thing starts now, so I'm ready to get it going.
We talked a lot about you being a focal point for this team offensively specifically. How much did, or if at all, did the stretch with New Orleans when Anthony was how much did that help you kind of get ready for this?
It helped me a lot, you know, as far as focusing on, you know, how defense is going to play me, loading up, you know, so I got to make my teammates better. So it definitely helped me a lot. You know, gave me that experience and confidence I needed to go into the summer, to work, to get ready for this opportunity. And it's here now, so I'm excited.
With the work that you've put in, have you seen some of the improvement on the defensive end that you put in this offseason?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just attention to detail, focus. Watching film, all those things help you get better defensively. And Phil is drilling the hell out of us every day. So that's been more of our focus than the offense. Offense is the easiest thing to fix in the NBA, but that we have a basis, defensive principles we've had from first day of training camp. That's very important. And, we're getting really good at the end.
Fizz mentioned he would like to see just in general the group rebound the ball better based on what he saw in preseason. See stuff on film that can be corrected, that can help?
Yeah, we just watched a 30-minute film session of missed rebound opportunities. So I think it's, cemented in our head now, to box out and get the rebound.
Is it like a technique just as simple as boxing out?
Yeah, it's a technique. It's a technique and a mindset. Rebounding is all effort and heart, really, in the NBA. But it's also, technique and mindset. A lot of times we're just standing watching, and the ball's bouncing over our head. So when it's doing that, that becomes a technique thing. But it's also effort.
You're from the Dallas area, right? Not San Antonio.
Yeah.
But I mean, just you'll have a lot of family. You have a lot of
closer to Houston. I don't really have family in San Antonio. My mom will be there, sister and stuff. They'll drive up, but I don't really have family. Not that I know of from San Antonio. Yeah.
Who did you root for? NBA team growing up?
Lakers. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Julius Randle. You heard he's a Lakers fan growing up, so he must have been elated to play for the Lakers when he was, when he was drafted to the Lakers. He must have been out of his mind. But anyway, you didn't hear much. You didn't hear much anything new from Julius Randle, except for the fact that Mitch will be starting at point guard. You know what I mean? So we'll be looking forward to seeing that point Mitch. Point center, point Mitch. I don't know what I'm talking about with that. In other news, real quick, before I get to these guys in the chat, Dennis Smith Jr. signed to Rocnation. You know what I'm saying? They put out a ad today. Welcome Rocnation. Welcome to Rocnation Sports, Dennis. So Dennis Smith Jr. will be with Jay-Z. Listen, it is what it is. It's pretty cool, I guess. You know what I mean? Dennis Smith Jr. signed to Rocnation. I don't know how much there really is to say about it, but congratulations to Dennis Smith Jr. And I hope it all works out well. I guess that's all I really have to say about it. You know what I mean? You know what? That's all I got to say about it. I don't really have too much more to say about it. But, congratulations to Dennis Smith Jr. and Rocnation. And I do want to get to a couple of storylines of the game before I talk to City for Real and Guillermo and get on up out of here. A couple of storylines that I want to watch for throughout the game. One, the starting lineup and rotations. Right? I want to see what those starting lineup and rotations look like. And these starting lineups and rotations may be very different than what we see throughout the season because, Mitchell Robinson may not be there. We'll see what happens with Taj Gibson. It sounds like Taj Gibson is going to be okay. All right. Will a point guard step up? Will somebody finally step up? Obviously it's not going to be one game, but will someone at least have a good game where we can say, okay, maybe this is the guy? Will a point guard step up? Will somebody step up? I'll be looking to see that. How much is Julius Randle going to be used at point forward? We just heard from Julius Randle. I'll be watching to see how much is he used at point forward. I'd like to see him used there less. I don't mind him being used at point forward, but I don't want to force the issue. Let it come and let it happen naturally. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him in the post bullying some people around. Will we see some more offensive sets? Listen, you heard David Fizdale. All of the offense is not going to be in. The guys are new. They're not going to have everything in. I get it. That's cool. But I still would like to see more than what I've seen the last 3 preseason games. They've had some time to practice. You heard Julius Randle say that they're getting drilled. So I'd like to see a little bit more structure. And as I'm watching the offense, as the season goes on, I'll be looking to see, are we getting more structure till we get to the point where we feel it's good? Because you don't want to over structuralize them. I don't know if that's a word, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do it too much, because if you do it too much, then you take away the freedom to play basketball. They become robots. You know, but I'll be looking to see us get a little bit more structure. Defense, I want to see us play solid defense. Look, we're playing the Spurs. Greg Popovich understands and knows how to pick defenses apart. You know what I mean? You know, he's one of those guys that can counteract what you do. He can adjust, strategize in the midst of the game. That's important. Not every coach can do that. You know what I mean? So I want to see how this defense plays now that action is really here. And then, of course, it's RJ Barrett's first NBA game. And you heard from everybody, Coach Fizdale, Julius Randle, they said, take it easy, young fella, have fun, enjoy it. It's your first game in the NBA. You only get one of those first games in the NBA. So enjoy it. Have fun with it. Don't worry about mistakes. And I'm hoping the kid has a big game. You know what I mean? But those are some storylines to watch for the Knicks. And then, of course, you got the whole Marcus Morris thing, but I don't want to harp on that too much. Not trying to focus on drama, trying to focus on good basketball. My prediction, I think the Knicks are going to win this first game. I'm sorry, folks. Some people might laugh at me. I think we're going to come away with a win. I think that the Knicks are motivated, and this is a team to be motivated against because of what happened with Marcus Morris. I think, that might help fuel the fire a little bit. I think the Knicks might come away with a win. So let's see, man. And I will be elated if the Knicks come away with a win. You know what I'm saying? I'll be hyped. I think the Knicks are going to come away with a win, though. That's what I think. All right? And I'm not going to back down on it either. Not going to back down on it. Let me get to these guys that's in the chat, man, because I'm about to get up out of here. And, because I got to hit the road. So let me get to these guys real quick. I want to get your predictions, guys. And then, I'm rocking up out, man. So let me get you unmuted. And here we go. Guillermo, both of you guys,
Yeah.
City for real, both of you guys are unmuted. Why don't you guys give me your predictions, man? We
Yeah,
gonna
I
win
think
or
it's going to be a close game. I think the Knicks are going to play hard. And I actually think we're going to come away with a W. I think this is a team, they've been shooting higher from the threes, but they don't really have closers. DeMar DeRozan is a head case. LaMarcus Aldridge is getting a little bit older. Still a solid player, but I'm not totally scared of him. Still got guys in Lonnie Walker. I don't know if DeJounte Murray is playing. But overall, this Knicks team is loaded. I think we play a smart game. They don't try to do too much. If guys like Randle, if he's not trying to validate his contract, just try to play hero ball and just plays a good secondary player, guy who can push the ball around, get everybody involved. And if this team could play defense, man, I think we come away tomorrow with a W. So I say 110 to like 109 to 108.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right. City, what about you, man?
It's like I said earlier, man. I think we'll play them good because, like I said, we've been playing them good the last couple of years. You know what I mean? We've been doing a decent job, I should say, at with like playing the Spurs or whatever. So it should be a good game, man. I just want to say I think Randall had the right mentality when he said his any given Sunday thing, because I've been saying that myself for the longest time. It's any given Sunday, man. Anytime a team can lose, but for us, we just can't automatically count W's because we broken on defense, but like, you know what I'm saying, we got some things that we need to clean up, and hopefully we start off the season with a W, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
All right, man. Hey, man, I'm going to let you guys rock, all right? Because I'm about to get up out of here myself. Appreciate you guys for being on. All right. And yeah, no doubt.
All right.
And I hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you guys tomorrow in the after the game, in the post game and whatnot. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to head up out of here. Okay. I appreciate you guys for being here with me. I got to hit the road. So that's the reason why I'm getting up out of here. You know what I mean? And listen, I will see you sometime tomorrow. You either see a video or definitely I'll be on a post game. You know what I mean? So I'm out of here, folks. Peace.
That's the jam.